Today, we're going to dive into a story called The Boy at the Fence. It's a story told through the eyes of a child, and because of that, its message about a really dark time in history becomes something you just can't forget. So, let me start by asking you a question. Just imagine, for a second, that you have to leave everything behind. Your house, your friends, your school, everything. How would you feel? That feeling is exactly where our story begins. All right, so our story kicks off in Berlin. And right away, we meet a young boy whose whole world is about to be turned upside down. So first up, we meet Bruno. He's just 9 years old, and honestly, his life is pretty great. He lives in this huge 5-story house in Berlin, he loves to go exploring, and he has 3 friends that he calls his best friends for life. Life is good, you know? It's simple, it's fun. But then, just like that, everything changes. Bruno gets home one day, and the maid is packing up all his things. It turns out his dad, who's a really important soldier, has a new job. The order comes from a man Bruno calls the Fury, which is his kid way of saying the Führer. The whole family has to move, and Bruno is absolutely heartbroken. He has to leave his home and his best friends. So Bruno gets to his new home, and it is nothing like Berlin. It's here, feeling all lonely, that he finds something very strange. This new house is the total opposite of their home in Berlin. It feels cold and empty, and it's basically in the middle of nowhere. Bruno really hates it. But from his bedroom window, he can see something curious. It's a really long, high fence. And behind it, there are hundreds, maybe thousands, of people, all wearing the same striped pajamas. And this is where you really see how innocent Bruno is. He can't say the real name of the place, Auschwitz. So in his head, he calls it Outwith. For him, he's not living next to a terrible concentration camp. He's just next to a weird place called Outwith, where everyone wears striped pajamas. Now, Bruno loves to be an explorer, so even though his parents tell him that area is out of bounds, you know he's not going to listen, right? His adventurous side is just too strong. So he decides to go exploring. He just starts walking along the fence for a really long time, just hoping he'll find something interesting. Or maybe someone. And that walk leads him to the most important part of this whole story. It's a secret friendship, one that you'd never expect, growing in one of the worst places imaginable. As he's walking, he sees this little dot in the distance. As he gets closer and closer, he realizes it's a boy just sitting on the ground on the other side of the fence. His name is Shmuel, and just like Bruno, he's 9 years old. They even find out they have the exact same birthday. But even though they're the same age, their worlds could not be more different. You've got Bruno on one side of the fence, in a big house with nice clothes and always enough food to eat. And then you have Shmuel on the other side, stuck in a crowded camp wearing those striped pajamas every single day, and he's almost always hungry. Their friendship keeps going, always in secret. But one day, their 2 worlds crash into each other, and it leads to a moment that really tests Bruno's bravery. So one afternoon, Bruno is totally shocked to find Shmuel inside his house. He was brought over to polish the glasses. Bruno sees how thin his friend is, how sad he looks, and so he gives him some cake. Just a simple, kind thing to do for a friend. But just then, this really cruel young soldier, Lieutenant Kotler, storms into the room. He sees Shmuel eating, and he gets so angry. He starts yelling at Shmuel, saying he must have stolen the food. Shmuel is absolutely terrified. He tells the soldier, "No, my friend Bruno gave it to me." So now the angry soldier turns to Bruno. Everyone is staring at him. What's he going to say? Is he going to tell the truth and protect his friend? Bruno just freezes. He's so scared of the soldier. And he does something awful. He lies. He says, "I don't know him. I've never seen him before in my life." He chooses to protect himself, and in that moment, he betrays his only friend. You can just imagine how terrible Bruno feels after that. The lie eats away of him, but he gets one last chance to make things right in what he calls his final adventure. Bruno goes to the fence every day, but he doesn't see Shmuel for a long time. When he finally appears, Bruno can see he's been badly hurt. Bruno just says he's sorry over and over and over again, and Shmuel forgives him. Their friendship is back, and it's stronger than it was before. Okay, so right when Bruno finds out his family is moving back to Berlin, Shmuel tells him that his own father has gone missing. So for his very last date out with, Bruno comes up with a big plan. First, Shmuel will bring him a pair of striped pajamas. Second, Bruno will change into them and leave his regular clothes by the fence. Third, he'll slip under a loose bit of the fence. And fourth, they'll search for Shmuel's dad together. But what Bruno thinks is just a great adventure, a chance to finally play with his friend and be a real explorer, well, it becomes the tragic, tragic end of the story. Bruno gets under the fence, but soon after, the boys get caught up in a crowd of people being marched by soldiers. They're all pushed into a long, dark room. Bruno is terrified and has no idea what's happening, but he reaches out and takes Shmuel's hand, holding it tight. He tells him he's his best friend for life. And that's it. Bruno is never seen again. His family searches and searches. Finally, weeks later, his father finds that small pile of clothes left by the fence. And in that one moment, he understands everything that happened. But it's far, far too late. This story really leaves you with a heavy heart, doesn't it? It shows that even in a world filled with hatred and fences, the simple friendship between two little boys can show us how similar we all really are. It leaves us with a question to think about. What can a story like this teach us about friendship and about seeing the person on the other side of the fence?